So we back with another video. Today we got your boys with the free agency tier list, the NFL free agency tier list. We're going to be ranking every single teams based off their free agency as of March 15th. Now, the next time I rank NFL teams will be for the draft. We're going to be ranking every single team's draft. So if y'all do want more of these team tier lists, more of these NFL tier lists, because I'm going to get into another gear with these NFL tier list videos, because we got to do the head coaches. And then when we get to the point where we have everybody teams lined up, we're going to be doing the quarterbacks. We're going to be doing the wide receivers, the running backs, the offenses, the defenses. So if y'all do want more, like the video, subscribe, all that good stuff out the way. Let's get into it. Alright, so let's get into it. So we got to go through every single team, so I got to have it ready and up. So first team, we have the Cardinals. Now, to my knowledge, when we do the coach, I'm not too sure about the coach firing or hiring. But for the most part, we know that they don't have Kyler no more. So that's a pretty big move that they did do. Jacoby Brissett, they tanked to end of the year, but Jacoby Brissett, it did look a little bit better offensively. But I do think a lot of that was kind of garbage time. Won't lie. They did pick up Gardner Minshew. Now, at running back, they have Tyler Algier from the Falcons on the Cardinals now. I honestly didn't even know that. They still have James Conner. They still have Trey Benson. They still have Bam Knight. Think of that what you will. Michael Wilson was a huge player to end the year last year, where you could even say he may have even took Marvin Harrison Jr. Chain altogether. But outside of those two, it's not much. They did pick up Kendrick Bourne. Maybe you could have asked for more wide receiver pickups. Trey McBride, arguably the best tight end in football. They already had Raymond, more of a run blocking tight end. O-line, they did pick up that guard. I remember that, the guard from the Steelers. That is an interesting pickup. So they did try to address the O-line somewhat. So I got to give them credit for that. They didn't really address the wide receiver position in the way that they probably should. But I'm going to be honest, wide receiver in free agency, it wasn't that strong in my opinion. So I also do think free agency is kind of also more so for the desperate teams. And looking at this on first look, I'm gonna be real, I don't think I'm forgetting too much of anything. The Cardinals ain't really did much, so I will say for now, I'm gonna say probably, I feel like you will C is like the average. You would more so go D and F if you just did bad deals, in my opinion. So that's what we're gonna have. Next, we have the Falcons. Now, the Falcons, on the other hand, when it comes to their coaching, firing, I do support. The hire is extremely questionable. Now, on the other hand, they let go of Kirk Cousins and picked up Tua Tagovailoa. That's the big thing. Now, another thing that happened, we just went over this. I didn't even know this, but Tyler Algier is no longer on the Falcons. So in my eyes, for Bijan, that's going to be very good. Because Bijan, he's just very impactful for this Falcons team. So him just getting more touches, more snaps is going to be huge for this team. Drake London, outside of him, they did lose their number 2 wide receiver. I forgot bro name, Darnell Mooney. But he was injured in and out the lineup all year anyway. It's not that huge of a deal. They picked up Jahan Dotson, I believe. Not that big a deal. They did get Kyle Pitts back. That was a big one. If he was going to leave or come back, he did end up getting franchise tagged. O-line, for the most part, is pretty much the same to my knowledge. D-line, it seemed like they did make some moves, but for the most part, nothing too crazy, I would say. Linebacker and edge. Now, the question mark with them is going to be the James Pierce situation, because they spent a first-round pick on him. If you remember, last year with the Rams, that is who they traded the first-round pick to get, actually. And they don't have a first-round pick this year. So that entire situation is going to have to figure itself out, because they have a big question mark with that. But based off what they've done in free agency, I didn't really think they needed any DB help for the most part. I thought that their DB, for the most part, is pretty much straight. Because you got to think about it. They got Jesse Bates, Xavier Watts, and Billy Bowman were exceptional picks in my opinion. You got one in the slot. Really, both can move around, but one in the slot. Xavier Watts had a very good rookie season, and Jesse Bates is one of the best safeties in the league. AJ Terrell is just doing what he does, and they also had Mike Hughes. So I do think they actually did a pretty. Was Mike Hughes? Mike Hughes was on the Panthers last year. Was he not? He wasn't. He was on the Falcons. Okay, I may be thinking about somebody else. But for the most part, it don't seem like they really did much of anything. To really, you could argue B, because I do think getting rid of Kirk and having, I just don't know how much you can trust having two injury-prone quarterbacks, in my opinion. But Tua did pretty much play the whole season, and he just got bitched. So, is he injury-prone? I don't know. I'm not gonna knock them for stuff that's kind of out of their hands. Like, what happened in this offseason don't have nothing to do with last offseason. So, James Pierce getting, like, in trouble, and that's what they traded the first round last year. That has nothing to do with this year. So, I'm not gonna knock them for that. I'm gonna give them a B. I'm gonna say a B. Because they did more than the Cardinals, in my opinion. Next, we have the Ravens. Now, the Ravens have had an outrageous offseason. Now, I will say, I think the Crosby trade, in my eyes, for the Ravens would have had kind of solidified that defense into being a genuine elite defense. When you think about the head coach they lost, who I didn't agree with, but I did agree with the head coach that they ended up hiring. So if you're going to replace him, you got to pretty much go in a strong direction. They went straight defense. Now, what I kind of expected was the opposite of what they're doing. They've only really created cap space, and apparently they're working on signing an extension for Lamar, which is kind of crazy, in my opinion. But I guess maybe that's not crazy for Ravens fans, but outside looking at that, kind of crazy. Now, they did not end up getting Max Crosby. Now, allegedly, what happened was Max Crosby, they were saying they was talking about getting an extension or whatever. The agent said that wasn't happening. They ended up signing Trey Henderson for about the same money they was going to have to pay Max Crosby over these next couple years. Now, the issue is Trey Henderson this season was not good at all. So that is kind of the conundrum. And another thing when it comes to Trey Henderson, the big difference between the two is Max Crosby is arguably the best run-stopping end in the league. Like, go look up the top 4 all-time tackle for loss players in a season. Max Crosby missed multiple games last year, and he still came in 4th ever. So you can look at these sack stats, these counting stats. Max Crosby is a very good pass rushing edge rusher, but what he does in the run game, he completely, like, you got guys like Michael Parsons, you got guys like, you could even argue TJ Watt, he kind of inconsistent with it. Some of the, like it's a lot of these undersized edges that are ridiculously good pass rushers that get gassed into this top 5 edge combo. But Max Crosby is genuinely ridiculous as a run stopper while also being elite as a pass rushing edge. So I think Max Crosby just would have gave them a whole different thing. It does come down to, is Max Crosby worth a first and a second compared to Trey Henderson? If we get the Trey Henderson from last year, I would argue yes. Because I thought that was a great trade for the Ravens, because if you're getting Max Crosby, the Ravens aren't, if they have Max Crosby, in my eyes, they're not picking below 30. But then we start getting context that he's injured still. Now, apparently, the context of that is they was kind of using that to just back out the deal. Apparently, he's going to be ready to be for the training camp or whatever. So, I don't know. I got my question marks with the Ravens. The issue with the Ravens ain't even just that. They've really done nothing, and they've lost a lot of guys. So, I honestly don't know what to feel. I honestly want to say F, but it's the Max Crosby deal. I don't know if that's a good move or a bad move, because if you're getting 2024 not Max Crosby, Trey Henderson, that's low-key a very good deal, because you're going to get arguably a better pass rusher than Max Crosby, but the run stopping, Trey Henderson is just bad at that. No matter how you want to take about that, he's just bad at that. But the Ravens, they don't play 4-3. They play 3-4. So maybe he can fit in that a little bit better. But I don't know. Zach Minter, we'll see if he's actually that type of level guru where he can take them to a whole other level. Because you got to think about it. They went from Baby Belichick to whatever they had these last 2 years to Zach Minter, who I actually think is pretty good. But we'll see. I'm going to actually have to put them deep for now. I'm going to low-key say F. I'm going to say F. Because I'm gonna be real. I'm thinking about it. Who would go F? I'm going to go F. Next, we have the Bills. Now, the Bills got a lot of hate for the trade they did for DJ Moore. As a Patriots fan, I'm going to be real. I talk about the Bills all the time in terms of who does this offense fit. It don't fit Josh Allen whatsoever. It don't really fit James Cook, but he's just good in it because the O-line good. He's a very good running back. He's just a good combo in terms of that. I don't think the scheme is more so the thing that's helping him. And then you have Shakir. I think Shakir is probably the only guy. Like, Keon Coleman, this scheme is not fit for him. The tight ends, you could argue. Like, for the most part, the best players on the Bills offense is not built towards that. Now, the big issue for me with the Bills is if you're going to lose McDermott, I've said this for time, Josh Allen gets the most out the offense and McDermott gets the most out the defense. Now, I will say last year, James Cook and the O-line took a big step up, especially the O-line. In my opinion, James Cook was always pretty good, but I think that he just had a much better season in pass because he got improved, but I thought the whole offensive line was improved as well. Then you have Josh Allen, who, in my opinion, took a step back. So with him taking a step back and James Cook taking a step forward, you got to give all these other guys on offense credit. But defensively, they got more talented, but in my opinion, it seemed like in the regular season, it wasn't that consistent defensively. But I'll say this. What is that going to look like when you're losing guys on defense and you're losing McDermott? I'm not going to lie. I wouldn't be too surprised if the Bills have one of the worst defenses in the league. But I will give them credit for the DJ Moore pickup because I do think that actually fits this offense. Because I always would ask who in the world on this offense actually fits the offense or scheme that they play. And yeah, so they pretty much gave a OC, the head coach. I did not like that thing because they already had him. It was no reason. I don't think he was even a candidate to get hired. They could have just kept their coach and just kept the OC. You had a good dynamic. Now you have to figure out a good defensive coordinator that can play. If anything, if you're going to fire McDermott, now you have to get a better defensive coordinator than who you had at head coach. That's the issue when you fire these offensive coordinators or fire these offensive-minded guys or these defensive-minded guys. It's just what it is. Like, if you're going to hire a defensive-minded guy, now you have to try to get either as good of a guy or better. So, in my opinion, I don't know. Maybe this is just one of those moves that this is the move to get you to that next step. I don't see it as that. I'm going to say D. The Panthers. Now, the Panthers is a team that we could debate. I don't even have to look at it. The Panthers have had one of the best free agencies so far. If we just doing it straight free agencies, no trades, the Panthers have had the best free agency in my opinion. I think that they've been very consistent with their moves that they've made. I don't think there's really been too many question marks for me when it comes to them. I'm going to have to say for the Panthers, easy S. I think the Panthers have really done a good job to position themselves well in that division. When you think about all the things that's going on with the Falcons, you think about all the things going on with the Buccaneers. I think the Panthers have taken a thorough, and based off the moves they making, they're going to be a good defense. So I give the Panthers a lot of credit for what they're doing. Now, the Bears. The Bears, on the other hand, they lost some guys in secondary. Now, my homie's a Bears fan. He be hating on Brisker. I don't agree with the Brisker thing. But some of them other DBs, Byard, I'm a Patriots fan. We ended up signing him. We're going to discuss that when we get there. I don't think Byard is an all-pro. He's a serviceable safety. Is he good? Is he elite? Hell no, he ain't elite. Good is debatable. Last year, I think he was good. I'll give him that. But anything beyond that, no. No. But I don't think the issue is, if I was the Bears, I'm looking at it from this point of view. Okay, we lost 5 DBs. Jalen Johnson fell off a cliff these past 2 years. Stevenson has not been that good these last 2 years. Cal Gorder this last year was not as good as he was in previous years. So, the people that was coming into the year, Brisker, JJ, and Gordon was your 3 top DBs. Brisker is going to the Steelers. Now, you can make the argument that you couldn't depend on him to play week in, week out. In the playoffs, he literally guarded Puka Nacua and locked him up one-on-one as a safety. That is invaluable. So, I'm not really hearing that. Jaquan Brisker is very good. When he got injured last year, you can talk about the coach getting fired, whatever. When Jaquan Brisker got injured last year, that made a big difference on that defense. So, I think Brisker was one of the more important players on the defense. Now, Tremaine Edmonds, he just hasn't been that good recently. So, I'm not too big on him being left, but he is going to be a void they have to fill in regardless. So, they have to pick up a linebacker. They got to pick up DBs in this draft. Bad. So, I don't know how I really feel about that. I think that's a lot of holes they got to pick up. I'm going to actually go C for the Bills. They did lose a lot, but they did do the DJ Moore trade. So, I'll at least go above the Cardinals because they at least did something of relevance. They did lose a lot of guys as well, but I do think that DJ Moore and the Bears also lost DJ Moore. They also lost DJ Moore. Like, they had Luther Burton, DJ Moore, and Odunze. My homie don't even like Odunze like that. Luther Burton, I don't care what nobody say. He's nice. So I think that's a stamp. Cole I don't think they lost Cole Kmet, but Colston Loveland, who I was finna say, he stamped, in my opinion. Now, he could take that step back, kind of like Sam Laporta took a step back after his rookie year. That's possible. We've seen that happen. But even Brock Bowers, you got to argue, he took a step back after his rookie year. So could Colston Loveland be the next person to do that? I don't know. I don't really know if I would believe that or trust that too much with Ben Johnson. But Sam Laporta was with Ben Johnson, and that happened with him. I don't know. So, Bears is a tough one. I think they probably F, because they ain't even make a move. I'll probably go, yeah, they probably F. Like, the Ravens at least made a move. They lost a lot. But the Bears lost more, low-key. No, the Bears genuinely lost more. So, yeah, I'm going to go there. Then we have the Bengals. Now, the Bengals, in my opinion, are actually putting in an effort to make moves in free agency. The question is, are these actual good moves? Now, I think Geno Stone leaving is not a negative at all. I ain't gonna lie. Geno Stone leaving is not a negative at all. But in terms of the moves they making, I'm gonna be real. I've honestly thought that they've been making some pretty interesting moves for a team that need defense bad, in my opinion. So, I'm gonna go B for the Bengals. Honestly, I'm going to go C for the Falcons, because I think I'm just gassing them a little bit. I'm going to go B for the Bengals. Next, we have the Browns. I ain't seen too much of the Browns. I think the Browns picked up an old lineman. Yeah, they picked up Titus Howard. I thought that was an interesting pickup, honestly. I don't really know how really feel about him, honestly, at this point in his career. They did lose. Well, I don't think Njoku got signed yet, so I can't speak on him too much. I know Jerome Ford left, but they already picked 2 running backs in the draft last year. They still got their quarterback, so I'm not too surprised they didn't pick up a quarterback. Wide receiver, they picked up. I don't even know if Malachi Corley is a new signing or not, bro. I'll be real with you. So we're just going to keep it moving. It don't look like they signed too much at wide receiver regardless. Still got kind of the same D-tackle situation. Edge, look like it's kind of the same edge situation. Linebacker. Now, I think linebacker, they're going to probably... I heard Owosu was retiring. I seen that Morgan Moses was retiring, so I don't even know, bro. I seen that Owosu was retiring, bro. I ain't gonna lie. I seen that he was retiring, so I'm seeing him on here, so I don't know. I don't know how much to really trust this. They still got Tyson Campbell. They still got Denzel Ward. Outside of that, at corner, they may need another corner, to be real. The safety... I think they may need another safety, honestly, too. So, I don't know. I'll probably say for them C. They don't seem like they did too much or lost too much. So, and they were already a bad team, so it's like, yeah. And this is a bad team that just don't have cap because of the Deshaun Watson situation and Myles Garrett. So, it's not really much to say there. Then we have the Cowboys. Now, Cowboys, in my opinion, did one of the better trades, in my opinion. That the trade, like, if you're the Cowboys and your defense was that bad, and you can trade anything off your defense and get a 3rd round pick, in my opinion, I think that's a W. Especially when you think about the fact they literally traded for 2 D tackles last year. So, yeah, I'll give them that. Now, with that being said, they picked up Rashawn Gary. I don't really know how to feel about this trade, because Rashawn Gary at the end of the season did nothing. Well, especially when Michael Parsons was out, he pretty much did nothing. Like, they genuinely need some type of edge rush. He did nothing, man. So, again, I don't know what to really feel about him at all. At all. Now, the defensive coordinator, he seemed interested. I don't know much about him, but in terms of him speaking, he seemed interesting. But we remember the Jets coach last year. He was a good talker. The brother was terrible as a head coach in his first year. So, we'll see. Like I said. Now, outside of that, defensively, what did they add? I'm looking. I don't see nothing, gang. I'll be real. Nothing to talk about. Let's say that. Absolutely nothing to talk about. We're gonna go C. I could argue B. I'm gonna go C. I'm gonna put them here. I'm gonna put them there. Next, we have the Broncos. Now, the Broncos, I know is D, because they haven't signed anybody, and I know they've been losing guys. Now, the Dre Greenlaw loss is not that big a loss. He really didn't play much last year at all. Like, he was injured pretty much the majority of the season. And that's kind of been the story with Dre Greenlaw for a little minute now. So, if I'm anybody, I'm not really trying to sign anybody off them 49ers teams. Like, only way I'd sign anybody is if I'm just taking, like, a low-risk, high-reward chance. Like, no way. them boys is too injury prone over there. I don't know what they got going on over there, but they like Fred Warner showed up to a Warriors game, boy. People was dropping like flies, gang. I don't know what's going on over there. So yeah, Lions. Now the Lions is an interesting one because they're losing. I think they're finally they lost their left tackle Taylor Decker. So they probably got to pick up an O-lineman. Their O-line is kind of falling apart day by day. Now the big thing with them. They traded for an O-lineman off the Texans and traded David Montgomery to them. Now, I think they did get a pick back. I do believe they got a pick back. And they did replace him with Isaiah Pacheco. Now, Isaiah Pacheco, really since he got injured the year before last, has fallen off a cliff completely. So, I don't know how to feel about that pickup. But at the end of the day, he is not, I repeat, he is not David Montgomery. And if anything, when we talk about the Texans, that's going to be a huge pickup because, honestly, I don't think it's been that good of a free agency for pretty much majority of teams. But some teams did make some very, very good moves, in my opinion. Now, at wide receiver, they didn't make no move. I don't really think they really had to. The only place I really feel like they probably should have made some moves was at corner. I think they did pick up Roger McQuarrie. I could be, yeah, they did. Is that really something to really write home about, in my opinion? No. So, that's that. Oh, Alex Anzalone retired, I think. Or did he just leave? They may need another linebacker. To be real, they might need another linebacker. Because they got Jack Campbell, Derek Barnes, but yeah, they might need another linebacker. Their D tackle situation is interesting. They need another edge for sure. They need corner. They need defense. Let's just leave it there, bro. They need a linebacker, an edge, a corner. They straight at safety. They don't need to do nothing there. They just need a corner, a linebacker, and an edge on defense. And then on offense, they need O-line, which is pretty much the core to how they play. So, that Montgomery trade is crazy to me. I'll be real. But I don't know if I can put them D off of one loss. But that is a pretty significant loss. Like, if you look at some of the Ravens losses, some of the Bears losses, some of the Broncos losses, I don't know if any of those teams have as significant as a loss as the Lions. And the Lions ain't really made no moves. The only move they made was Pacheco, who has, the last time we seen him, he was bad. Not good, he was bad. So, yeah, I'm about to go D. Because they didn't lose too much, and a lot of it is kind of about contracts at the end of the day. Like, they can, like, you have a roster this talented, you're going to lose guys because you just can't pay everybody. But I have to put that, like, that must be discussed. Next, we have the Packers. Now, the Packers, I'll be real. Packers are very interesting because they did trade the edge to the Cowboys, who I said didn't really do much to Indeed. So, I think that is honestly a positive if you are a Packers fan, if you want to discuss it. But with that being said, you also did lose Quay Walker. You still got Coop. You picked up Zaire Franklin. So that is an interesting pickup if you're going to be replacing him, I guess. So, and apparently Quay didn't have a good season last year too. Now, I think the issue with this defense was just cornerback. At cornerback, they don't have much of anything. Like, they got a slot, they got safeties. Corner, they don't really have anything. Like it's very bad at corner, in my opinion. Now, you got your edge in Micah Parsons. You just need him to get healthy. You could probably get you another interior guy or two, honestly. You probably do want two more. And you definitely need another edge. So you need another edge, probably another interior guy, and you definitely need another corner. But the big deal with me is the Packers lost a DC, who had a very good start to the season when they were healthy. But as they got more injured, and teams started to figure out all you got to really do is throw on them, it got worse and worse. Now, another thing you can really talk about is they did lose some O-linemen, but I'm going to be real, that's not that deep for me. I don't really think the losses are really significant losses, and I think that they may even replace Quay with a better linebacker in general. So I'm really trying to see, is there really anything that really harmed them for? Because you got to think about Tucker Kraft got hurt like early in the year. Like, that's a big deal for them, in my opinion. Matthew Golden, he ain't really do much for them. So maybe you can still say they need wide receiver, even though they got Matthew Golden, Jaden Reed, and Christian Watson, and they did lose Romeo Doubs. who at times it did feel like was Jordan Love's favorite wide receiver, but they had a lot of injuries last year, so it's kind of hard to really gauge who the hell that is. They did lose one of their running backs, but I think Marshawn Lloyd as one of the backups is going to be fine. Josh Jacobs is just probably going to get more carries. He's also probably going to be fine. Yeah, I'll probably say C, bro. It's not really much to say here, bro. I'll be honest. It's not much to talk about here. They didn't really they did. They picked. I think their replacement probably was better. I'll probably keep the Cowboys above them because of the trade that they made. But you can argue Zaire Franklin is Zaire Franklin. I'll get DJ Moore and then Zaire Franklin. Next we have, and you got to think about the Sean Gary trade where they also got value from him too. We'll see how that trade that could kind of sway it a little bit differently for both teams depending on how big of a deal that is for the Cowboys and how big of a deal that is for the Packers. Next we have the Texans. Now the Texans, in my opinion, this is not a straight up S like the Panthers, but they have had a good offseason so far in terms of they have a huge need at O-line. They have addressed the O-line pretty much all offseason so far in terms of either shipping guys out or getting guys in, which is, in my opinion, very, very important. Now, another thing that they had a huge issue was running back. They ended up picking up one of the most underrated running backs in the league at David Montgomery. That, in my opinion, could be the nail in a coffin for a lot of teams. Because the way that this defense plays, all they really need on offense is the ability to run the ball. Give C.J. Stroud a run game. Give C.J. Stroud a defense. That's a lot of margin for error, especially if his weapons are healthy. Just give him an easier task so he can probably get a little bit. Because if you remember when he was a rookie, people was gassing it. They was letting him play simple football. Let him get back to playing that simple football. Give him a good O-line, a good running back. You kind of just got to build a team to handicap him as much as possible. You can't really try to build the team to try to make him win games, in my opinion. Just handicap it as much as possible. For now, maybe he can get back to what he was and get back on the trail or the projection of what he was supposed to become. And yeah, then defensively, they also did extend Daniel Hunter, so they didn't lose him. I think they did lose one of their defensive tackles, but they still got the edges. Linebackers, they still got them boys. I think they actually picked up EJ Speed from the Colts. Nah, he was on there last year. Who else? What else could have happened? I knew it was somebody. It was Reed Blankenship. They picked up Reed Blankenship. Now, the thing is, they still have Jalen Petrie. Oh, they lost a slot. What's his name? I knew they lost somebody. I don't know how big of a loss that is, though. I don't think he was playing too much. So, yeah. Especially with Jalen Petrie, he's just much better, too. That core four on that secondary, even though Stingley gets very overrated a lot, I think that core four is one of the best in the league easily. And then you got that edge duo. Yeah, I think the Texans defense is stamped, bro. It's not really much to talk about there. I think they just got to keep improving that O-line. If they get healthy at wide receiver, I think they fine. Like Nico, you got to think about it. That last playoff game that they lost, he didn't play. Tank Dell was out all season. We'll see what he looked like if he does get to come back this year, or is able to come back this year, I guess. Not get to, is able to. And then you got guys like Jalen Noah and Jaden Higgins that were rookies. They're going to most likely get better, but that's not guaranteed in the NFL. So we'll see. In my opinion, I don't think that's an S. I do think Montgomery takes them to another level, but I'm going to say A. Next, we have the Colts. Now, the Colts as a team, in my opinion, have not made any good moves. I think that they've put too much attention on the offense, where the offense was the issue, in my opinion, in some ways. Early on, the offense was not the issue. I'm capping. Early on, the offense was not the issue. But Alec Pierce, I wanted Alec Pierce to the Patriots. But the contracts they was talking about Alec Pierce was going to get is crazy. And then he ended up getting even more than what the hell they was talking about. So, I just thought Alec Pierce with Drake Maye made a lot of sense in terms of the most efficient deep threat in the league with the most efficient deep passer in the league. That just makes a lot of sense. Then getting the draft, a guy that can replace Diggs in that slot. You got Kyle Williams, Chisholm. You got some young guys coming up. You still going to keep Booty. You still going to keep Hollins. I think that would have just made sense in my opinion. Two good additions. Now, apparently, they're going to shift to A.J. Brown. We'll talk about that later. But, in my opinion, starting to lose guys on the O-line. The O-line, in my opinion, was the strength of the offense. As soon as that O-line started to deteriorate, the quarterback started getting worse. The run game started getting worse. Simple as that. So, I don't really know how I feel about that. Now, apparently also another big deal is that Anthony Richardson may get traded. I'm interested to see what... Okay, they granted him permission. I thought it was a trade. I thought they said they had him on a trade block. So they said he can demand a trade at any time. It's not a report that he actually has done it. So never mind. I take that one back. But defensively, they did lose a lot of their linebackers. I've seen Colts fans talk about that. That Sauce Gardner trade is going to really, really, really troll you for a good amount of time. But I'm going to be honest, I was just talking about the Texas core 4. Your core 4 is actually pretty good too. Kenny Moore, Char, Cam Bynum, and Sauce Gardner. That's a good core 4 on your DBs. Maybe you just want another safety. Get some linebackers in there. I know y'all picked up some defense, but for the most part, I like that. I honestly like that. To be real, I do. Y'all probably do need another edge, because I do think y'all did lose your edge. But for the most part, I'm not going to be too harsh on the Colts. I'm not. I think that the biggest issue with the Colts was they signed some crazy deals. Like Daniel Jones' agent, phenomenal agent. Now, I will say, it is only a 2-year deal. Is it an extension or a deal? It's a deal, right? He only had 1 year. He was a free agent. Yeah, he was a free agent. He just got a 2-year, re-sign. Yeah. So it's a re-sign. And the Alec Pierce contract was crazy. The only reason I'm gonna put y'all D is because the contracts y'all did extend were just crazy. Just crazy, man. Like if y'all could have got Jalen Jones on like 30, 35 million, some around Sam Darnold, but a little bit lower, I would have been cool with it. But to give him more money than what he got, that's crazy. Now I do understand the money goes up every year. So I don't know what Sam Darnold would have got if he was coming off that Vikings year into this year, where he was also just drastically better than what Daniel Jones was last year. But I digress. Then we have the Jaguars. Jaguars are interesting because for me, it don't really make sense for them to trade. In my opinion, it makes sense for them to trade BTJ, but at the same time, I can see why they wouldn't want to trade him. In my opinion, he's a first-round guy. His rookie season, you've seen what they was able to get out of him. Comes back next season, it's like he regressed. In my opinion, you trade him while the value high if you're the Jaguars. Because one, I don't think he fits the scheme. I don't think this quarterback likes him the same level as when he was really having that breakout, it wasn't when Trevor Lawrence was even the starter. So, in my opinion, I think you just get some value for him while you can. It's some teams right now, especially with this free agency, like at wide receiver, some teams that's desperate. I would have took advantage of that. But you keep him. You still got a 6'3", 4'3", 40 that can run routes. He had a struggle to catch the balls, especially in contested areas where he may get hit. But for the most part, you keep that. Maybe he comes back to normal this year. I don't know. For Jaguars fans, I still believe in bro, but a lot of Jaguars fans not really messing with bro for real right now. Now, the thing with the Jaguars is they did lose some guys, especially on defense. I thought their defense was more consistent than their offense. I just think their offense just had such a good scheme. The big loss is ETN offensively. Outside of ETN, it's not much. I do think there's a pretty big addition when you think about Travis Hunter. I think that's a pretty big deal. But honestly, outside that, linebacker, when you lose Lloyd, you're gonna probably want to replace that. They D-line, in my opinion, is still straight. They D-line is straight solid. You maybe want to get some depth, but I think they D-line is solid. That's kind of what you want in your D-line. You definitely want another linebacker. You definitely want another DB. Like, you really only got 2, maybe 3 good DBs. You maybe want another DB. Offensively, I don't think you need a wide receiver. You probably get another running back, but you did just get LaQuint Allen, and you did get Brace Tune. So maybe you had this writing on the wall that y'all was finna get rid of, bro, last year. Y'all had this. But he was your best running back last year by far. So that'll be a very interesting situation. I think tight end you need. Offensive line you need. So, but you didn't really lose much but ETN. And you already had the replacements drafted last year. So I'm not going to knock you for that, honestly. I'm going to just keep y'all right there with the Cardinals, in my opinion. I think Lloyd was the big loss. But I feel like some of that is kind of cap casualties. It's not really, because some of these guys you are gonna have to pay very soon. So, especially with Trevor Lawrence getting the money he is getting, yeah, I gotta be real. Devin Lloyd and Travis Etienne, come on, yeah, I'll go D. They just didn't make too many moves, but I don't think being a D in this free agency is that bad, honestly. Probably gotta lower the Broncos. Probably just got, because they're just not fitting in this tier with those guys. Maybe not. Keep them up there. Then we have the Chiefs. Now the Chiefs, I don't know. I'm gonna be real. I don't know what the Chiefs got going on. I'll be so honest. The Chiefs, in my opinion, now Jeremiah Love maybe not was gonna fall to them, because it's looking like the Cardinals probably are gonna get him based off the additions they picked up in free agency. Based off that. But if they don't, I don't think the Saints getting them with all the running backs they got now. So I think the Chiefs had a good chance of getting Jeremiah Love. But what they end up doing exactly what they've done so far. They trade Trent McDuffie for a first-round pick. Now, it's a late first-round pick. Trent McDuffie is one of the 5 to 10 best corners in the league. Now, the thing is, that's with Spags. We'll see what he looked like without Spags. I think Spags was getting a lot out of a lot of them DBs. Because when them DBs lead the Chiefs, they don't look the same. It's a couple of that's been left now, and they ain't really look the same without bro. I can go down the list, but I ain't going to do that. Now, they picked up Alohi Gilman. That's actually a good pickup. I didn't know they even did that. I'll be real. I don't think they paid him that much either. That's actually an interesting pickup. Yeah, your cornerback situation is so troll. It is so troll. I ain't even gonna lie. This joint is terrible. Your safety situation is... Yeah, man. I ain't gonna lie, Chiefs. I don't know what the plan is here. Y'all did pick up Chris Tonga from the Patriots, but you also don't play with nose tackles. You play 4-3. So it's like, I don't know what's going on there. Now, edge, you definitely need another edge, but we knew this already. You knew this already. I knew this already. Linebacker, you still got Train Quill. You still got Nick Bolton. I think you did lose the other linebacker. I haven't seen him mentioned yet, but yeah, I'm pretty sure you did lose the other one. O-line, for the most part, I guess. Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. Not much going on here. They picked up Kenneth Walker, which it was a big need. They pretty much on the opposite end of the Lions. I don't think Kenneth Walker versus David Montgomery for a time has been a kind of an argument for me. I think you got to give Kenneth Walker a lot of credit for what he did in the playoffs when he finally did get that feature back role. And he said that when they were splitting carries with him, that kind of did put him off a little bit. And then he ended up doing what he does in the playoffs, and they don't even re-sign him. Now, I don't know if that's him not wanting to come back because it still was going to be the same with the other dude being healthy. But I said this in the playoffs, bro. As soon as one of those guys went down, you kind of knew what was going to happen next. So, and I honestly think that was actually kind of smart of him to leave because no Clint Kubiak. We'll see what that offense look like next year because the Seahawks lost a lot of guys. But I'm going to be honest. I'm not going to be harsh on the Chiefs. I thought the Chiefs had a little bit worse of a free agency than this. I'm going to actually say B. I don't think that they've had a bad free agency at all. It's not like they did a trade to get a good guy. They just straight up signed some guys. And they lost some guys, but for the most part, I think they've been okay. Oh, no. Nah, see. Because the Trent McDuffie trade. Now, they did get a first-round pick for Trent McDuffie. But I gotta factor that in. They did lose Trent McDuffie. We'll see what that's looking like. That's good value, but I think you could have probably got more. Like, especially when in the climate where Sauce Gardner is going for 2 picks. I repeat, Sauce Gardner is going for 2 first-round picks. I think you could have probably got more for Trent McDuffie, personally. So, that's just me. Let's keep it going. Next, we have the Chargers. The Chargers. Now, the Chargers, they got a new OC. I think that's probably the biggest thing that they've done so far in the offseason. But that is not what this video is. This is a free agency tier list. I thought Najee Harris was on a team. He's not. He got hurt. He was on a 1-year deal. Damn. 1-year deal and then he got hurt like that. That's actually kind of tough. Wide receiver, they don't have Keenan Allen either. That's interesting. O-line. I think people are kind of getting ridiculous with this O-line situation with them. Me personally, they picked up the O-lineman from the Commanders, the center from the Commanders. They got Cole Strange. I don't know how. I'm gonna be real. I don't know what they cooking with that one. That one I don't know what they cooking with that one. But the tackles, if they tackles are healthy this year, they gonna have a good O-line. I'm telling you that right now. Because they gonna have a good O-line. I don't think they even need to go too crazy on them in draft. I think they gonna have a good O-line with that. Especially with their new OC, they gonna have a good offense. They may need a weapon, but I think they're gonna be fine. Now, defensively is where question marks come for me because they did lose their DC. But I don't know if it's gonna be the DC. We don't know that for sure yet. We shall see though. It probably is gonna be the DC. It may be a little bit of a drop off, but we'll see. Let's just say we'll see for now. I'm looking at the guys they got. I know for a fact that Khalil Mack re-signed, so I don't know what this talking about with Khalil Mack. Yeah. They probably do need a corner, but for the most part, yeah. I'm going to probably say for the Chargers, it's not much going on here, man. They lost some guys. I'll probably say that the losses that they got are just not significant enough to really note, in my opinion. They did lose that edge. They did. I forgot about him. They did lose him. I'll go D, I guess, for now. It's not nothing crazy to me. Next, we have the Rams. Don't need to talk about it too much. You could argue. I'm gonna be honest. You could argue the Panthers over the Rams. I'm not doing that. I'm just, for them to be that good and just go and get all these DBs where they just, in my opinion, on 18, they really didn't have a hole anywhere else but DB. Good, hey man, good luck. That's what I say. They, in my eyes, they kind of just going all in for Matthew Stafford last year, and now they talking about they finna go for AJ Brown. If y'all remember when they got that ring, that first ring with Matthew Stafford, they was doing a lot of trades. Like the GM was known for saying fuck them picks. They going all in. Like if you remember when he got his award, he said he gonna come back. So this may be just his last year. Maybe like a little farewell tour and he get like a little Super Bowl. I don't know. Farewell tour into the Super Bowl kind of aura. I ain't gonna lie. That like people was talking about top 10 quarterback convos with him getting an MVP. What happens if he get another MVP and another Super Bowl at age 42? I ain't gonna lie. That may be damn near undeniable at that point. I ain't gonna cap. I ain't gonna lie. Next, we have the Raiders. Now, the Raiders, in my opinion, having a now, flip it back to the Ravens. When it comes to the Raiders, what you think is more important? With the offseason that they have had already, where they got all these pretty solid signings, in my opinion, and you get to keep Max Crosby? Now, you are trying to rebuild, so getting those two first may be nice. We can damn near already discuss Fernando Mendoza is a Raider. I ain't even gonna lie to you. He's a Raider. Let's not even beat around the bush with that one. But I'm not gonna count it for the free agency. I'm not gonna look at the quarterback because they don't really need a quarterback because Aiden O'Connell can just be the backup. That's fine. The issue is here, I think that they do need a little bit more wide receivers, but we'll see what Dante Thornton and Trey Tucker look like in a Clint Kubiak offense. A guy like Jack Beck, a guy like Jalen Naylor that they did sign. They did actually sign him. So that'll be interesting. Brock Bowers, Michael Mayer, we'll see. O-line, this is the area where they needed to improve. They ended up picking Tyler Linderbaum. So we'll see what's going on there. A lot of people were saying that was an overpay. I don't think y'all really understand. I said this earlier in the video. Free agency is kind of more for those desperate teams. The Patriots and the Bears spent a lot of money last year, especially the Patriots. I think the Bears was kind of more so spending money and more so trades. They was kind of dibbling, dabbling in both. Patriots was all in on free agency. They were just trying to get whoever they could. So that's just kind of what it was. Defensively, they made some signings. They able to keep Max Crosby. I think that's going to be very interesting. They actually was able to get Kwity Paye, Nakobe Dean, Quay Walker. Like, I really like some of these signings they was able to get personally. Teron Johnson. Like, I like some of these signings they was able to get, man. They could have a real solid, underrated defense next year if they can figure out that offense where they also, by the way, they got an offensive-minded coach. this could be a very, very interesting situation with the Raiders, man. Before this last year, it was a rookie quarterback that took that team to the playoffs. That just didn't happen this year. It wasn't that great of a rookie class either, but it just didn't happen. I think the Raiders could be that team that could sneak up in there, but that is a very, very tough division to do that. So we'll see. I'm gonna have to say for now, again, the Max Crosby, trade the 2 picks, get the 2 picks. If you're a rebuilding team, how do you feel? Are they closer to rebuilding with keeping Max Crosby? I would say they're closer out of the rebuild without. How old is Max Crosby though? 28. NFL 28. I ain't gonna lie. 28. Hey, once you get 30 in the NFL, you old. I ain't gonna lie. That's kind of crazy. Like, that sounds like some gaming stuff, but that's real life in the NFL. I don't know why, but it makes sense. I don't know if I can say, probably can say A, bro. Getting all these guys and Max Crosby, you could damn near probably argue S. I'm gonna go A, top of A. Top of A. Top of A. Next, we have the Dolphins. Now, the Dolphins having a kind of slept on free agency. Malik Willis. Now, the thing with him, coming into the league, he had the traits. It's just he needed more time. Now, he's shown in the last 2 years when he did get a chance, he looked good. He was playing under Matt LaFleur. That's the thing. And he wasn't really asked to pass that much either. But, I forgot Tyreek Hill is a free agent. I forgot all about Tyreek Hill being a free agent. So they got Jalen Waddle. They got Tutu Atwell. Jalen Tolbert. Is that bro from the Cowboys? That is bro from the Cowboys. Interesting. They have nothing at tight end. They have actually nothing at tight end. I ain't gonna even lie to you. O-line, I'm gonna be real. It's not that bad. D-line, I'll be real. They need another edge. They definitely need another edge. Maybe another D tackle, but they definitely need another edge for sure. Jordan Brooks, come on, ridiculous season last year. I'm looking at this team. Oh, they also got the defensive coordinator from the Packers, so you can kind of expect them to be better defensively, but they don't. They DB situation kind of troll. They did pick up Alex Austin. His rookie year was actually really good. Didn't really do much of anything last year when he got his chance. If anything, he was just not that. He was just bad. Outside of that, bro, this is a bad DB room. And they traded Minka. Yeah, this is a bad DB room. This is a very, very bad DB room. Yeah, I'm gonna be real, man. I can't go too far on them. I'm gonna probably say C. I can't go too far for them. I'm gonna say C. Next, we have the Vikings. Now, the Vikings picked up Kyler. That's a big move, in my opinion, because that's a very talented guy going to play with the quarterback whisperer. We only seen one guy fail under the quarterback whisperer so far. He will not be named, but you know who that is. You can say his number. You can say the initials. If I have to say anything else, you're not going to get nothing else. Next, we got the running backs. They need to pick a running back in the draft. If this team could get Jeremiah Love, that would be huge. I ain't going to lie. They got more needs than that, though. I'll be real. But they still got Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison. TJ Hawkins is still on the team. That's a good trio of weapons. You probably want another wide receiver. You probably want another tight end. But for what you got, that's pretty good. O-line had the injury problems last year, but if they can be healthy this year, I think they're going to be pretty good. They just need to be healthy. That's the issue with their O-line. They just need health. They had a pretty big injury crisis last year. They just need help. D-line, interior, they need help. Edge, I think you're pretty fine at edge. Maybe a off the ball linebacker, but this is a very deep linebacker drive. DB for sure need help. DB, linebacker, and interior need help. Like Brian Flores, like kind of what I was saying about McDermott. Brian Flores does that to the Vikings. All these years he's been on the Vikings, but times 10. Like I don't know how bro don't got a job. This year I think he actually got offers. He just re-signed and got a bigger contract. So if he don't want to be a head coach and can get his money being a DC, especially if you're not even gonna get that much blame, just stay a DC game. But teams, like fans, starting to get smart, bro. Like people starting to slander coordinators. They don't even slander coaches no more. They go after the guy that they think is actually the guy. Like, so yeah, I'm gonna say for the Vikings, the Kyler Murray move alone put them to B for me. I'll be real. Because I'm really trying to think about who did they lose. Like Naylor, like, okay, I guess. I think they did lose some interior guys, but yeah, I'm gonna go B. Patriots. Now the Patriots is an interesting team, because Patriots is kind of the definition of what's been going on in free agency, in my opinion. I think last year the Patriots went all in on free agency. We don't have to be desperate no more, in my opinion. I think I'm not like everybody talking about the Patriots gonna have a harder schedule this year. I'm not really too mad at nothing that happened this year, to be honest, because we made it to the Super Bowl this year. We're gonna have a tougher schedule this year. I don't think our team was that talented. I think we really was a rebuilding team that got all the way to the Super Bowl. That's what I think. Now, I do think a lot of that had to do with the coaching in terms of how good of a leader of men Mike Vrabel had. So them boys just wanted to play for him, and then Drake May was ridiculous. Now, once he started to fall off in the playoffs, the defense rose. Go look at them Titans teams with Mike Vrabel, what they did defensively. They rose. So we'll see. Diggs is a big. I've been saying all season Diggs wasn't really the wide receiver one. He just had the biggest games. But he, week in, week out, it kind of changed. Like, one game it could be Diggs. One game it could be Hunter Henry. One game it could be Booty. One game it could be Hollins. So, I think, honestly, if anything, when Diggs was the wide receiver one stamped, Henry was being inconsistent, Booty was out, Hollins was out, and guys like Kyle Williams, Chisholm was getting more PT. I thought that's when we was most dynamic because we had guys that was actually getting open. Now, they had their flaws where maybe they didn't have like the one-on-one chemistry with Drake as much as the veterans. But that's something that can build on going into this year. So I do think Diggs being lost and we get Romeo Doubs, I don't think that's really a like-for-like replacement. But I do think we had to sign somebody. I don't think we could just lose Diggs. I think Dobbs may have been somewhat of an overpay, but I don't know what an overpay is at this point. Because I thought the money he got would have been good money for us to sign Alec Pierce. But apparently, I was completely wrong on that. So like I said, I'm not going to be gauging that one too harsh. But when it comes to the young guys from last year, I think those are the guys that are going to step up. That's kind of what I expected last year going into this year. But I also said we need to sign a big guy and we need to draft some guys. We ended up getting some guys last year, and the guys that we had that was coming into last year, they are all going. They are going. Which I'm actually happy about, because the only person I really wanted to keep for the most part was Javon Baker. With him gone, I can kind of see the light that was probably a good decision. Now, we signed a fullback. If you watch the Patriots, if you watch bro, he loves to do double tight end with fullbacks. Westover has no catching ability, so we had to get a real fullback. We got a fullback. Offensive line, we addressed that. We got AVT. Now, the thing is, for him, injuries. We did lose our center, but I do think Jarrett Wilson going from left guard to his natural position at center is a big deal. Now, the thing I didn't know about AVT is that he can play tackle. So if it does come to a point that it does start keep getting egregious with Will Campbell, I don't think Vrabel will force him to will just allow this to just keep going on. I don't think he would kill his confidence, but he would do what's best for the team at a certain point. I do. So we'll see how that shakes. I thought Morgan Moses retired. I had seen a report about that, but he didn't. I actually like Marcus Bryant in the time that he got a chance, but he was injured last year, so I can't speak on him too much. We did lose Tonga. I talked about that earlier, but our D tackle room was really strong. When you think about Barmore, Milton Williams, Corey Dorton, Joshua Farms, very, 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 like, Durden and Farms, when they got a chance, they actually played very well, so I can't even be mad at it. Tonga was really, really good, but the Bang Bros is going to stay, and then everybody else is going to be able to climb up that list. Now, edge, we definitely need edge. We pretty much kept our edges. The only thing is that we lost Chason, who was probably our best edge, our most consistent edge. Ain't saying much, though, in my opinion. Like, we had a big edge issue on both sides pretty much all year. If it was a play being made, it was Harold Landry in the run. Maybe give him a little too long to get to you. He was getting there. Chason was like the guy that either he wasn't getting there or he was getting there fast. Which I did like those plays where he got there fast. But sometimes he just didn't finish the job, which kind of was annoying. That kind of happens a lot with this defense. We'll see. But DB-wise, again, you think about the safety that we had last year, I think that we did take a step up. I liked bro. I thought he was okay. But if you look at his play, what we had him playing, that's a perfect role for Byard. So, honestly, I like the pickup for Byard. I don't know about the money and all that. I don't really remember the contract or what it was for the most part. I'll just say, for me, I'm not a big Byard guy, but in terms of the role that he gonna come and play, it seemed like it's a really, really good fit. So, yeah. And then we got Gonzo Steele, Marcus Jones, Carlton Davis. I think at corner we pretty much fine. We could probably draft another guy, a young guy to just be coming up. But for the most part, I think we kind of fine at that. We just need edge defensively and linebacker. Edge and linebacker, and we just chill, in my opinion. Edge and linebacker. We definitely need to keep going wide receiver. Maybe get a running back. Because we did lose Antonio Gibson. But he was out for the most part all year either way. So it's not a big deal. I think tight end is a sneaky one. Because we go 2 tight ends more than we go 3 wide receivers. So we don't really need but a 2 good consistent wide receiver. And just that third guy. We got good depth. It's not no real premier guy. I think Dobbs is just a guy that just around the same level of the guys that we already have. The guy I'm really expecting to take that jump is Kyle Williams. We'll see. So I think the Patriots for the most part. And the Diggs was honestly a good move because we was gonna have to pay him a lot of money. So I just thought that was a good move. But the only thing I would say is the negative about it is he was a huge leader for the team and especially that wide receiver room. So again, that is kind of a big deal, but we'll see. For the most part, though, we replaced Diggs. Maybe not as good. That's debatable. The guard that we picked up, that's a big pickup, but he has his injury concerns. Not gonna gas that one. We lost Tonga. We didn't really need to sign anybody to replace him. We already had a lot of depth. I'm really trying to see like where could we go here? The reports is that AJ Brown is gonna go to the Patriots. I'll see it when I believe it when I see it. Now I think with that, I don't really know how much I want that to be real, because it's not like AJ Brown like a separation specialist. He's a guy that has a route tree that he does, and you're gonna have him do that for the most part. Now. He's a definitely wide receiver 1. In those situations where you're getting pressured a lot, you're going to have to go to a wide receiver 1. You're going to want to have a wide receiver 1. I think those situations, Drake Maye is going to be nice for him. And I do think A.J. Brown is actually a pretty solid deep threat. So I think that could work. But again, I would have probably rather a cheaper option. But we'll see. Because like Eagles fans is treating A.J. Brown, and I think he is one of the better wide receivers. But I don't know why we giving A.J. Brown, Justin Jefferson trade value, Gerard Chase trade value, and Brother be getting 700 to 1,000 yards every season with the Eagles because his quarterback is Jalen Hurts. I don't really know what's going on there. But I'm going to say for now, because like, I think AVT is a pretty big pickup for the Patriots, but he has his injury concerns. That's the issue. Javon Jones, I'm going to have to say probably like here. Next, we have the Saints. They got ETN, but outside of ETN, I don't know how positive or negative. Like, I don't know how positive or negative a lot of these teams really are. I think the ETN pickup is an interesting pickup. Alvin Kamara, take that for what you will. I do think, in hindsight, trading Shaheed was a big deal. I think that getting value for that when he was a free agent was a big deal. Because I don't think he's returning to the Saints. But he ended up returning to the Steelers because I thought he honestly got, if you think about Shaheed compared to Alec Pierce, I think he got underpaid. But I understand him going back there after winning a championship. Because sometimes if you can still get money and win, why not? You know what I'm saying? Why not? This is a team that need a wide receiver. Outside Chris Olave, that room is looking interestingly bad. Tight end, that probably need a guy, in my opinion. They did pick up Noah Fant, but that probably needs a guy. D-line. Yeah, bro. Hey. Your O-line is straight. Stamped. O-line straight. You need D-line, wide receiver, tight end. I think you probably think you got your quarterback in the future, but we'll see. I think y'all did pick up Caden Ellis. Outside of that, as linebacker, you did lose DeMario Davis, but it was about time. You lost Cam Jordan. It was about time, though. Let's be real. If you're a Saints fan, you probably want those guys to retire for you, but those guys want to keep playing. So, like, that's not really on you. You can't just keep overpaying guys, in my opinion. Y'all, the Saints have been in a bad cap situation for a couple years now, and y'all have not been good for a couple years now. So, it's just what it is. How the cookie crumble. Still got Chase Young. Didn't even know that. Justin Reed. Honey Badger retired. Yeah, he did retire. Did he? Yeah, he did. Yeah, I'm looking at this. Yeah. I'm gonna be real, Saints. I'm gonna keep it so honest. I'm gonna keep it so real. I'm putting y'all C and I'm keeping it moving. ETN, cool pickup. I don't think that's like no game changer or nothing. Cool pickup. Next we have the Giants. Now the Giants lost some guys, but the replacements have actually been pretty good in terms of the money. Like Rondell Robinson, bro, that Wandale Robinson contract again. That's the reason why I'm like, as a Patriots fan, the Dobbs contract, I'm cool with, bro. I'm not tripping too much on that. Like, I'm not tripping on that too much, bro. That Wandale Robinson contract is crazy, gang. Crazy. So, to be able to get guys like Darnell Mooney and Calvin Austin, if I'm a Giants fan, I'm chilling, bro. You get a wide receiver in the draft, bro. Get a wide receiver in the draft. Now, I've seen some Giants mock drafts where they getting Jeremiah Love. So I'm gonna be so real with you. I don't understand that one. That one throwing me completely off. That one is just throwing me completely off. If I'm honest, I think your tackle situation is fine. Honestly, I think your tackle situation is fine. Your guard, you picked up a guard. I know that. So no, you didn't. I'm tripping. I seen Evan Neal going viral for coming back for 1 year, 1.20 guarantees. That was kind of funny. I can't lie. They was on him. Now, apparently he said he hate the fans. Now, Kayvon Thibodeau, I like the fact that y'all talking about trading him. He needs to be traded. Trade him to the Patriots. Trade him to the Patriots, man. We need something like that. I don't know what we trade. Hey, we give y'all like a cool little fifth. You feel me? Okay. Oh, I like Greg Newsome. I like that pickup. I'll be real. I like that pickup. That's better, especially for what y'all had. I like that pickup. Yeah, I like that pickup because y'all DB room was crazy trash. So I like that pickup. We'll see what y'all got going on. I honestly think for the most part y'all handled y'all business pretty well. I'm not gonna gas it. I'm gonna say C. Jets. Now the Jets, I'll be real. Now, I think this a team. I don't know what to feel about the Jets. Can we get another Geno resurgence? You know, still got Fields on board. Still got Brees. Still got Braylon. Still got Garrett. Still got AD Mitchell. You can talk about whoever you want to talk about outside of those two guys at wide receiver. You still got Mason Taylor, who you did pick last year. O-line, in my opinion, is a little underrated at this point. I think some people are not talking about you or the Saints the way they probably should be as an O-line. And I think that is something that's nice to have coming in. Davante Sweat got traded to you. I thought y'all played 3-4. Apparently y'all played 4-3. I did not know that. I'll be real. So I don't know what. I don't really get it. The Minka trade, from what I remember, was a really good trade. What was the trade, bro? Wait, Minka signed a contract extension and barely got any money? Yeah, it was a 7th round pick. Yeah, I don't know, bro. I don't know what's going on. I'll be real. I know he's not as good as he was, but damn. That money I just seen was kind of crazy. Yeah, y'all need corner for sure. Y'all did pick up Nashawn Wright, but I ain't gonna lie. Getting DBs from that, bro, that coach that used to be with the Cowboys, that DB coach, bro, don't get no guys off him. Don't get no guys off them. No matter who he coaching, he gonna teach them boys how to get them turnovers. It's just what it is. Like, it's just what it is. I'll tell you right now. That's probably why the Bears don't care about losing all their DBs, to be real with you. So, yeah. If he make this Bears DB room work this next year, he's stamped. He should be stamped already, but he doing it with 2 different teams now. Stamped. I'm looking at this. This is a bad team. You know what I'm saying? Like, they picked up DeMario Davis. They picked up Geno Smith. I don't know what the plan is here. I'll be real. I mean, some of these pickups is like, I guess we got to pay somebody type pickups, you know? And I don't blame them because, hey, if I'm the Jets, if I'm the Dolphins, I'm all in on that tank. I'm all in on that tank, bro. I'm gonna be real. I'm gonna say C. It's not really much to talk about here. Now the Eagles have had an interesting one, because I've heard some interesting reports out the Eagles. Like I said, I'll believe it when I see it for pretty much all of these reports for the most part. Until I see it, I'm not gonna act like it's fact. But I heard that they talking about trading Jalen Carter, and it's more realistic that they trade him than AJ Brown. And then I heard that AJ Brown trade is pretty much a done deal. They just want to do it at a later date. And then I also heard about, so they did cut their tight end. They cut him today. I didn't see that because their tight end is not on the roster right now. I didn't see that. Wide receiver room outside their top 2 guys is bad. I'm gonna be real. If they trade AJ Brown, that wide receiver room is terrible. With Jalen Hurts at quarterback? Hey, man. You better, hey, I'm not gonna, no diss. But I don't know what I'm looking at this wide receiver room, bro. I'll be real. AJ Brown lead his wide receiver room. This joint is literally Davante Smith and vibes. Like, what the hell am I looking at? I'm so serious. I don't know what I'm looking at in that wide receiver room outside of him. I'm looking at the DBs. Oh, I remember y'all did get Rick Woolen. I don't know how I feel about that pickup, though, but talent, you can't deny the talent he is. He's just, the idea is better than the reality with him right now. So, I don't really think that's a loss for the Seahawks, but I guess. Yeah, I don't think that linebacker y'all lost was that big a deal because you already had Jahai, who should have been playing over him, and Zach Bond, who took a little bit of a step back last year, I'll be real. Edge, you definitely need help on because you lost your edge that you traded for, which is looking interesting of a move because you traded for a guy, you gave value up for a guy that you no longer have. Yeah, this defense got some holes in it, in my opinion, because you don't have no depth at D-tackle when you play 3-4. You don't really have much going on at edge. And you really need another safety too. Because you lost Blankenship. So, yeah, man. I'll be real. Eagles type of team to do some weird shit and put Rick Woolen at safety. And just unlock him. That'd be crazy. I ain't gonna lie. They put him at safety and just unlock him. That'd be kind of crazy. I don't know if that's working though. I'll be real. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. If they trade AJ Brown, this shit may go to F. I'm looking at this wide receiver room. I'm trying to really think. Like, if they were to do a trade with the Patriots, what player on the Patriots could they trade for? And that really, like, it probably have to be Booty. Because Booty is kind of a like for like. He's just not as good at any of the things that AJ Brown is good at. Like, he's pretty much the same style of player as AJ Brown. He's just not as fast. He doesn't have as good as hands. He's not as good at routes. But he is very good at all those things. He's just not as good as AJ Brown. So that may be a good trade for the Eagles if they was to pick him up. From what I know, they're not even trying to get a player. They just want picks. And they want some high value shit. Like I said, seeing like a Justin Jefferson Chase damn near level trade that they not getting. So I'm going to say for the Eagles, for now they ain't really they don't got no too significant loss. They lost the edge. That's cap situation. But it's not like that's like one of their main stars or nothing. It's a big loss because now they have nothing at edge. But before he was there, they had nothing at edge. They still had a pretty solid defense going into that game. They just didn't have a good edge presence, consistent edge presence at least. They lost a linebacker and they already got replacements. Yeah, I'll be real. They did lose a safety too. I'm gonna say D. Steelers is an interesting one because I don't know why they didn't pick up Kyler. Maybe this is a tank situation for the Steelers. I don't know. I'll be real. Because that next draft class is generational. We may see some solid tanks. They lost one of their running backs, but they picked up Rico Dowdle. I forgot about that with the Panthers, but I don't think that mattered too much for them. Based on the people they picked up. They did pick up Michael Pittman Jr. too. Okay, I forgot about that too. So they got DK and Michael Pittman. I'm not a big Michael Pittman guy, but they did pick him up. So, yeah. I guess I didn't talk about that with the Colts. I could have low-key lowered the Colts a little bit. Because that is a pretty interesting loss for them. Because they don't have that much at wide receiver already to begin with. Especially since they already traded A.D. Mitchell. But that trade would make more sense if they didn't trade A.D. But that Sauce Gardner trade is so bad. Like, it's so bad. I'm not even going to lie. O-line, okay. I mean, they didn't really pick up nobody. I'll be real. But okay. D-line. Yeah, they pick the nose tackle up in the draft. They're cooking. I'll be real. They're cooking. Linebacker, edge. They crazy edge depth. Solid linebacker. They picked the Jamel Dean. I'm not going to lie. The pickups that they had on defense were really good. Jaquan Brisker and Jamel Dean are great pickups. Those are great pickups in my opinion. I'll be real. Like Jamel Dean, Joey Porter with Jalen Ramsey, that's a good trio. Like Jalen Ramsey probably the worst corner there. That's a really good trio. Then you got Deshaun Elliott, Jaquan Brisker. Now I think they picked up Darnell Savage last year. Yeah, that's a good room. And I think they linebackers is pretty straight too. I think, bro, they a nose tackle away from being a real, like, they spend a lot of money on their defense, but if they get a nose tackle, that's a monster over there at defense. I may need to look up who they DC gonna be next year, because they looking interesting defensively. And they kind of did improve offensively too from the wide receiver perspective, and because now you got two real wide, bro. I think DK and Michael Pittman Jr. are both wide receiver twos, by the way. I think you got two wide receiver twos. But having two of them, maybe damn near could equal a one, you know? And then you have Rico Dowdle, Caleb Johnson, who didn't really do much to inspire me to say his name, but I said it. And Jalen Warren. Your quarterback is the big question mark, like I said. Why you didn't go for Kyler? Maybe Kyler just wanted to go to the Rams or the Vikings, which would make more sense than going to the Steelers. But honestly, Steelers had a little solid, little quiet, sneaky. I forgot they picked up Jamel Dean. I talked about Brisker earlier. I forgot they picked up Jamel Dean. I may go B. You can argue me A. I'm gonna go B though. Seahawks, they probably just D. They just lost guys. You can argue F, but come on, Super Bowl, I can't do F. I'm sorry. They did lose some guys though. They gonna probably be one of these teams in D that just are worse because they just lost too much. Whether you think about the OCs, some of the guys on offense, some of the guys on majority of the losses is defensively too, by the way. So that's where it's like, is it going to be as big a deal? We'll see. Next, we have the 49ers. 49ers have actually been picking up guys. Like I said, with the Cowboys, we'll see if that's actually a good trade or not. Mike Evans, they needed a wide receiver, so I give them that. And the contract they got him for don't seem like it's really any risk involved, so I'm not going to knock them for that. If anything, that's a positive because they actually were really desperate at that. They desperately needed a wide receiver bad because they have nothing at wide receiver besides Ricky Pearsall, because I'm pretty sure Brandon Ayuk is going to get cut. But I don't know if they're going to cut him or just hold him hostage. Just cut him, gang. Let you know what I'm saying? If there's a player on the 49ers, I'm taking a risk. Hey, go get me him. I mean, Patriots. Go get him. Go get me him. O-line. Now, they have signed some guys, but for the most part, yeah, I'm not believing in this. I'm going to keep it a bean. But they need an O-lineman. So I'm not going to knock them for that. They need an O-lineman. Now, it said they're moving to 3-4. I don't know if I believe that one. They play 4-3. But Nick Bosa fit a 3-4 better. Oh, Fred Warner and Greenlaw would make more sense in a 3-4 too. Kel went. Hey, hold on though. That 3-4 may cook. I like they cornerback trio, to be real. I like that trio they got with Green, Lenore, and Stout. Lenore can be overrated at times, but I like that trio. I'll be real. Especially Green and Stout, for them to be so young. I like those guys. Safety, I think they need improvement at safety. But for the most part, I'm not gonna go too crazy on them. I say C. They ain't really do much that was crazy. Like I said, some of these teams are just making moves, to be real. Like, that's a team that's making, they made moves in places they had to make, but it's not really much to write home about. It's not, yeah. Buccaneers, to my knowledge, the Buccaneers ain't really do much. Now, I don't think the Mike Evans loss is that big of a deal. It's kind of like the Patriots when they losing Tonga. Like, Tonga and Mike Evans is not really a debate in terms of the history that he has with the Patriots compared to the Mike Evans history with the Buccaneers. But last year, think about when Mike Evans came back, the offense fell off a cliff the moment he came back. The team fell off a cliff the moment he came back. Like, the quarterback fell off the moment he came back. Like, a lot of stuff started to break down. I'm not saying it's really his fault, but that's just what happened. So, I do think that this is a team that have a lot of good young guys coming up. When you think about when him and Godwin was out, that's when the offense was peaking at its highest. When those guys started to come back, that's when the offense started to, So, yeah. You got Godwin, Egbuka, McMillan, Tez Johnson. I think they got guys that can step up for them next year, especially Egbuka. I think Egbuka ready to take that mantle. Probably could have got a guy or two in O-line. You re-sign Cade Otton, re-signing Cade Otton and not re-signing Mike Evans. But I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure it's known that they offered more for Mike Evans, and Mike Evans said out his mouth that he thinks that the 49ers are a piece away. So, and I'll be real, they definitely need wide receiver pretty bad. So we'll see. We'll see. 49ers actually was really good last year, even with the injury. So if they get healthy, that could be a very interesting team next year. Defensively, yeah. Oh, they picked up Anzalone, though. That's a good pickup. That's actually a good pickup. So, looking at the rest, not much else to talk about here, man. Oh, they lost DBs. Crazy. Yeah, man. I'm going to keep it being. Not crazy. They lost their main guy, but they picked up Morrison and Paris last year, who actually had pretty solid years. So, I'll say for them, that's 2 big losses. But the Mike Evans one don't matter too much because they already had depth. They didn't really already. Their cornerback room was. Their DB room was already bad last year. So, yeah, I might have to go. I may have to go D because Mel Dean is actually a pretty solid loss. But I'm gonna go bottom C. Then we had the Titans. Now the Titans actually made some pretty interesting moves this year. This is another one of those teams that had to be desperate. I think this is a team that could take a jump next year, kind of similar to the Patriots with Drake Maye. They probably gonna have an easy schedule too. They have a tougher division than the Patriots. That's the thing, though. The Patriots division was also very, very easy. They're going to have to play the Jaguars and the Texans 2 times a year. And we'll see what the coach looking like. Picked up Mitchell Trubisky to be a backup quarterback. They still got Will Levis? I didn't even know that. Running back situation just is what it is, I guess. There's a team that honestly could take Jeremiah Love, and that would do a lot for them. They picked up that Wan'Dale Robinson contract is crazy, gang. Brian Daboll may be trolling this team. I'm not gonna lie, because that Wan'Dale Robinson contract is actually crazy. But again, like I said, bro, the wide receiver in free agency, it wasn't much to talk about, bro. It was not much. And I don't think Mike Evans would have seen this team as like a piece away. So it's like, yeah, bro, no. O-line, they picked up some guys, but yeah, bro, I'm gonna keep it moving. Defense, D-line, Jermaine Johnson. I remember they did that trade. That actually is a good trade because he fit. I don't think Jermaine Johnson is as good as that D tackle they traded, but the fit is probably gonna be better. But he's not as good, so I guess, bro, low key, I guess. I forgot that Jermaine Johnson low key played under Saleh too. So I guess that part of it makes sense too. You still got Jeffrey Simmons. Jeffrey Simmons probably going to be really good in the 4-3. We'll see. They going to probably go crazy in the draft at linebacker, but it don't seem like they made too many moves. DB. Don't seem like they made too many moves there either, but I'll be real. So, I honestly thought they made more moves than this. Genuinely, honestly thought they made more moves than this. It don't seem like they made much of anything. Like, even they tight end. I knew they picked up Daniel Bell. Like, these moves are literally nothing. They're doing nothing for you. I'm going to have to actually say D, because some of these moves is like, what the hell are we doing? Like, the Wan'Dale Robinson is just a bad contract. There's no way they're not going to pick up their tight end that they're losing. There's no way. The Commanders is the last team that we're ranking. I think that this is a team, if I remember correctly, actually had a pretty interesting offseason. So, they started out, they didn't really sign much. But you kind of understood what they kind of needed. They needed O-line, and they needed wide receiver, and they needed defense. Whether you want to talk about edges, whether you want to talk about DBs. They picked up Mick Robinson from the Lions. They picked up Nick Cross. I don't think that's really. We'll see. Adofe Owe. They needed edge pretty bad. Chuklavon, Chason. They needed edge really bad. Amenahu, I think they picked up 2. Yeah, they picked up a Amenahu too. Yeah, they picked up a Amenahu too from the Chiefs. So they picked up three edges. They picked up Leo Chenal. Okay. No, I'm not gonna lie. I don't know about the 3 edges. The 3 edges kind of OD, bro. Like, I want to give y'all credit. But what the hell y'all pick up 3 edges for? 3? What the hell we do that for? I'm saying we like as in troll. Like that don't really make too much sense. Say they play 3-4, but I guess. Wide receiver, they didn't really do much, and they need wide receiver kind of bad. So yeah, they need. Oh, they picked a Jerome Ford out, bro. They need running back. Oh, they picked a Rashad White. I guess that's a good move. Rashad Wright and Jerome Ford, low key. I'm not too mad at that. I'm gonna honestly say you could argue B. I'm gonna say C. I feel like the lump sum of their moves is probably C right there with the Chiefs. They didn't really have no significant losses, but I don't know how much of these signings are too much. Nah, them edge signings are gonna be, especially Owe. We'll see what Chason and Amina will do for them, but always a good pickup. Chanel is a great pickup. Chanel is definitely a great pickup. I'm not gonna lie. Oh yeah, no. I'm gonna go B. I'm gonna go B. Cause they really did a lot on that defense. So I'm gonna go B. And that's let's go ahead, unpin. That is the NFL free agency tier list. If y'all do want more, like the video, subscribe, all that good stuff out the way. Your boy Fitz. I'm out of here.
Tell them to bring me my money. Yeah!